Coiner.
Here.
Dasso.
Here.
Greenlee. Hugh. Kefauver.
Here.
Meyer.
Here.
Peterson.
Here.
Powell.
Here.
Schurtz.
Here.
Wittenmeyer.
Here.
Arcel, I apologize. You have the old version. Greenlee's no longer on the board, and Miss Powers is now with us.
I thought there was something wrong with this one.
I don't want anybody to be forgotten. My apologies.
Are you here? Are you here?
We have a quorum.
Thank you. We have received via our email the the minutes from October 17th. We've had an opportunity to look at those and to review them, and I would entertain a motion to approve the minutes of October 17th.
approve the minutes.
Is there a second?
I second.
Thank you. It's been moved and seconded to approve the October 17th minutes meetings as presented. Those indicating approval, yes?
Aye. Yes.
Aye.
And no abstention? Good, they have been passed. We have public comment present, so, and there was a yes, so come forward. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Stephanie Rittmer, and I was one of 3 people that were involved in the ad hoc committee for the guidelines for the DOLA 2 years ago. And once again, I'm coming in front of you to address some issues that have come up. I wanted to address the dog park issues once again. Oh, I do have some pictures and handouts here. Is that an approach?
Yes.
Sorry. Finally, our long-awaited agility equipment was installed and a new off-leash area was opened on the east side of Marquette Street across from the original DOLA. When the contractors completed the fencing on October 15th, I walked the area inside and out 3 times the following day to pick up debris, as seen on the photo on the left. At that time, an email was sent and also requested a magnetic roller be used. There is an additional picture that is not there from October 26, where more wire was found right in the middle. October 28, there was an update that a second walkthrough was done by Parks and Recreation. There were 2 eyewitnesses that saw these persons walking before sunrise with a bucket, appearing to be searching without flashlights or magnets. More wire was found after their second walkthrough, as depicted in the photos on November 1 and November 8th. On October 31st, the west side was open, and I asked for it to be locked again due to the dangers from the equipment installation. There were gaping holes, lots of jagged pieces, cement, etc. There was no walkthrough as requested to address any safety concerns. An additional situation came up with dogs digging, and that would be on your second page there. We are not down at the dog park 24 hours a day and cannot monitor all the attendees. There are community members that put sweat equity into trying to resolve the situation. We are willing to fill the holes and ask for dirt. 2 people took their own buckets of dirt and attempted to fill holes. It was just too numerous. There were a couple of holes that were larger than the sheet of paper in front of you and about 1 foot to an ankle deep, equivalent to sustain serious injury to the dogs and or persons. The holes were finally filled on the east side. On the west side, there are holes that are still there and are worse and a hazard, as you can see from the pictures. The holes on the west side were told to Parks and Recreation when the park reopened after the flood at the end of July, along with other issues that were going on. If you provide the dirt, we're willing to fill the holes. We understand that, the seasonal downsizing, and that is now a concern. There's a problem with the drainage in the tunnels, and we were told when the agility equipment was going to be put in and the heavy equipment was available, that they were going to put gravel underneath those tunnels for proper drainage. Weep holes were drilled. A staff member used a shovel and cleared out the mud from the tunnels and from the entrance. After that, I personally dug 2 inches down in that hard dirt with the shovel, provided by our tool chest, thank you. And that seemed to alleviate the water retention. At that time, with that dirt, I used it to fill some of the dog holes. There wasn't any said gravel or communication that there wasn't going to be. We understand about the seasonal staff changes, the building fire, and the projects. We're willing to help. The lack of response from Parks and Recreation for the safety of our dogs and their owners has left people not wanting to help out or do anything in regards to the dog parks. There is only one of 3 community members on the ad hoc committee that has consistently wanted to be continued to be involved with the safety improvements of our dog parks. There are other safety issues, including the emptying of the dog waste bins. And from what I understanding, I don't know as far as a couple days ago, but they were pretty full, and the one at the main entrance is almost at the top again. Safety issues regarding a speed hump, because now we have crossing of the streets with dogs and people. And any clearing of the snow for access to the parks, and that's going to be coming up, to name a few. Madam Chair, you had mentioned back in January something about having a committee in regards to the dog parks. I'm lucky to have a couple of new individuals that also want to be active in safety and improvements of the parks. We think your idea of having a committee is a great idea and possibly meeting every other month. We are willing to put in the sweat equity as long as we feel that we're all working together to better the situation. We agree with your suggestion of a committee. And that's it.
I appreciate it. Thank you for addressing these issues. We have information now. And at this point, we'll accept this information, and we've heard it, and it's up to, the powers that be, so to speak, to take a look. And so I would say that I can't totally say that we can take immediate action, but we have awareness, and I think that's the most important thing at this point. So,
throughout the months, whether it be emails, phone calls, what have you. So we thought that your suggestion that you did way back in January was a great idea about maybe having a committee and meeting just every other month, not even that often. Because the morale down there and having people cooperate together and to get things accomplished, it's just more or less Parks and Recs doesn't give a damn, why should we? Yeah. So we're trying to solve that situation, and I've got 2 active people that have put in the sweat equity already without really even being asked. So that would be a great consideration if you would consider us meeting every couple months or something like that to get some communication going.
I have heard you, and we're all here, and we'll take opportunity, I hope, to discuss. I'll just say that I'll ask the question again when we are meeting. So, thank you.
Thank you. I
Yes.
appreciate it. Thank you.
The, as you read, the bylaw action has been delayed to the next meeting. And so we will move on to new business, and what better opportunity than to recognize the work of staff. And I believe Teresa is here, yes. Thanks, Teresa. We'll move forward with that recognition.
Teresa Hallman, Senior Recreation Manager. And yeah, it's a great thing that two of our staff of our team have been recognized for the great works that they do every day. First, Amanda Randerson, if you'll come up. Amanda was honored with the first ever Community Tourism Ambassador Award, which is through Visit Quad Cities in an effort to promote tourism and through events and other stuff that we do. I'll let Amanda tell you a little bit more about being a community tourism ambassador. But she does a really good job of making sure that we all know of all the events that are going on in the area, as well as making sure all of our events are promoted and stuff through the area. And we are just really lucky to have her be a part of that.
Yeah. Thank you. So one of the great things about being a certified tourism ambassador is not only do we promote Davenport, but when we promote the region as a whole, that only helps Davenport in and above what we do. Because what we found out is $1.3 billion comes into the Quad City area, and a vast majority of that comes to Davenport. People are staying in Davenport, they are coming to our downtowns, and we are truly the region hub when it comes to tourism. So when we promote other cities within the Quad Cities, we are helping to promote Davenport the most. And so what I do when I'm going out there and I'm promoting all of the different events that we have going on, I'm honestly also promoting other towns' events in the area too, because we might not offer the same things, so offer their stuff, but offer ours too. And the collaboration of those different things get people here. And so that helped us get the award here first.
We're really proud of her.
Thank you.
It was a really nice ceremony, and like she pointed out, it was a really great event to hear about all the wonderful tourism things that we do have and are attracting as far as conferences and other things go coming up. And then right after that, actually, Sherry Fisher came into our office and was like, "Can I get a t-shirt?" And we're like, "Why?" And because WQAD was there at River's Edge to honor her, a parent, Glenda Zawalski, nominated Sherry to win the Pay It Forward recognition for all of the work. Sherry does so many wonderful things, especially for people with special needs. And anytime I go with her to any of the Special Olympic events or Handicap Development Center or any of those places, you just know that she makes such an impact because everyone runs up to her and gives her hugs and thanks her, as well as this parent of an athlete that does participate in any other activities. I will let Sherry say, she has a lot going on now. We have really good AmeriCorps working with Sherry to expand our Special Olympics and some other events, and I will let her tell you. She does not like to speak in front of people, so I'm trying to toot her horn for her.
Yes. So yes, it was a shock and an honor and a surprise all at the same time. it really is a true surprise. Like you show up and all of a sudden this camera's there. So that was nice. The coolest thing is this family has been with other Special Olympic teams and they've only been with us for 6 months. So she, after being at just 2 different things that we had done, nominated us for that award. So that was really cool. So we're going to use that money to help pay for transportation for our athletes to go to state. Our next state is we're in the heat of basketball season, and during basketball season, my AmeriCorps started a group at St. Ambrose. It's called the Be Adaptive and Inclusive Group, and they did an amazing fundraiser last weekend where their St. Ambrose basketball players combined on a team with our athletes, and we played against the police department, who almost beat us, by the way, but they did not, and other teams combined, and it was just it was an awesome day. So they've done a couple we met the football team, and yeah, we're a busy crew.
There was good news coverage at the game.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. He
was
stayed
great.
forever. It was so cool, and he interviewed 3 different people. Yeah, it was.
That was good for us.
Yes.
The basketball team is quite good, too.
I noticed
that.
Yeah, they're having a good year.
I just wanted to quickly say that I've attended Sherry's events, and she works very hard and does an amazing job with that population.
Oh,
Thank you for that.
Yes, thank you.
Well, gold star. It's me. Thank you for that. What we have now is Jordan Rasso. Is it Rasso?
Raso.
Yes. And
I'm here to introduce her.
Yes, I hope so.
Becca Niles, Senior Administrative Services Manager. So in 2024, we had a bit of a reorganization, and one of the changes that happened was I took over management of the AmeriCorps program that the city has hosted for about 14 years now. And we also had a change in our program manager position. Becca Eastman was our program manager, and she got headhunted and resigned to move on to the statewide Reading Corps program. So we still have her in the AmeriCorps family, but she's just no longer in the Davenport family. And this gave an opportunity to go back out and recruit a new program manager. And one of the things that I really looked for was someone who had HR experience, recruitment experience, and a passion for that particular area, and wanting to work with employees, and I use air quotes on that because we don't call them employees, we call them our service members, our members. And so I came across Jordan Raso, who joined us in April and hit the ground running. In her interview, I did warn her the first 6 months were gonna be a lot. It was somewhat of a rebuilding. We've had a lot of changeover in the program staff, and that does impact your ability to recruit. And so we took a new approach to some things. And so when Jordan came on in April, it was just in time to start recruiting for the 25 plus members that we had to bring on for the summer term. And then right after that was to start recruiting for our year-round members that began in September. And she has done an absolutely phenomenal job. Just in the time that she's been here, she's reviewed about 400 applications, and we are fully stocked for, with the exception of one position, I believe right now, for our current 50-week term. So she's just done a phenomenal job in not only recruiting, in making the relationships with the members themselves, building the trust, building the rapport, but also with our host sites, which is Big Brothers Big Sisters, Putnam, Common Cord, and us, Parks and Rec. And so I'd like to, we haven't had a chance to bring her in to introduce her to you guys, but we wanted to take that opportunity now. So I'm going to let Jordan come up and chat a little bit about herself.
Hi. Thank you, Becca. That was very nice.
My name is Jordan Rousseau. I'm the AmeriCorps Program Manager. I'm sorry if my voice goes out. I was sick all last week, but we're here now. It's fine. So I have most of my experience is in HR, in recruitment. I have a degree in human resources management. And then I worked in healthcare with recruiting, and then also I worked for the U.S. Army for about 3 years on the civilian side. So I get the government thing, but I also understand the private sector as well. And that was my main goal coming into this. Becca was very honest during my interview. She said the first 6 months are going to be rough, but I was like, sure, let's go. Because I came from a position where I didn't have a lot of challenges, and this position has had many challenges, but in a great way. I love everyone I work with. I love getting, like she said, getting to bring on so many members. And the positions, I have filled all the positions, but the ones we have open, they're open because people had to leave because of, health reasons or whatever. So I think it's been very successful. We're already going to start recruiting for summer in January. So my goal is to start early, get, the people I want early, get the right people in the right positions. And I think Sherry's AmeriCorps members, they're the best example of that. A lot of them were returners from summer that we were able to bring them on to continue the programming that they were developing over the summer into the fall. And, I'm assuming a lot will also come back in this next fall, which is great. That's my goal, is high retention. So, but it's nice to meet you all and to be here. And that's all.
Can you briefly say something about how youth in our community or young adults would know that you're recruiting? I mean, what is the format for that?
So right now, when I came in, like Becca said, we had a very short time frame. We utilized St. Ambrose a lot for the summer recruitment last year. We're still going to utilize St. Ambrose. We want to expand as well to Augustana Western, Blackhawk, multiple positions in multiple colleges. I also post jobs on Handshake, which is a college-oriented job board. It's like Indeed, which I also post on Indeed. I've had the most success with Indeed. I do job fairs, all kinds of things. I want to get into schools as well, high schools. I'm working on rebuilding and revamping our Youth Corps program, which is a good way to get kids and young adults who aren't necessarily ready for AmeriCorps, but get them ready to transition into AmeriCorps positions. They'll have at least one service project each week. We focus on one part of professional development each week and really hit that hard. It's 7 to 8 hours a day. It's very intensive from what I'm building right now. But my goal is to make it so that AmeriCorps is something that people know about, because I didn't know really about it before I applied for the job, and then I did a lot of research. But I want us to be something that people think of immediately, whether they're graduating or they already graduated, or I have some older people as well. That was, in the future, I want to tap into that older generation, because there are a lot of people who, they're retired, they want to give back to their community, but they just don't know how. So, yeah.
Great. Ambitious, but you have lots of energy, I can tell.
Yeah.
So, yay.
Yeah.
Yay.
For now, yes.
Keep it going, yes.
Yes.
Thank you. Welcome.
Thank you so much.
Welcome. Yes. Yay. We're ready to move on to staff reports. And are you ready?
I'm ready. Yep.
All right, go for it.
Several things. Main Street Landing project update. That was on council agenda last night for the acceptance of the bids. The bids came in under budget, which is a good thing. The item has moved on to the consent agenda and will be approved next week. So all signs point to that project starting construction sometime this spring. Junior theater update, we continue to work on the transition plan. We're currently working on a site that has not been released due to confidentiality request of the property owner, but it is a very viable temporary solution with the plans to continue discussions for a long-term permanent build somewhere down the road and start building the funds into the CIP for that. So we're hopeful to have hopefully an agreement in place that I can share more with at the December meeting, as our team is anxious to start that transition to spring, because we are on a ticking clock as far as having to vacate the Annie Whitmire campus. As Billy noted in his update, we did have a fire this month at our Marquette facility, and the investigation or the cause report has been completed. They were not able to determine the cause, unfortunately, but it was a significant loss. We lost about $700,000 worth of equipment. So Billy is working with our fleet manager to get that and risk insurance claims to get that equipment replaced, and looking at a plan in case there are delays in getting that equipment, how we can either rent, borrow, not steal, equipment for the spring, so we can have our riverfront crew up and operating at full capacity this spring. Budget process, we're knee deep in the budget process. We concluded our meetings with the finance department in terms of operations. Just a note for you guys, in case you're interested, council will be hosting their budget workshops on February 1st and February 8th. That's a Saturday. Those are both Saturdays. Typically they start about 8 in the morning, and they're go to about noon. Public can attend. It's not a meeting where public can comment, but you're certainly welcome to attend if you're interested in the overall budget process and have nothing to do on a Saturday morning in February. EMICE Clubhouse update. First Tee has raised their contribution. I've also requested $1 million in the CIP for next fiscal year for the city portion, and we are putting together grant requests and other things to fundraise the rest of the money. If things go well, it's realistic that we may break ground next fall, but that's dependent on how well our fundraising efforts go to complete the portion of the $2.6 million concept that we have for that. So, and then lastly, an email, Jess will be sending out an email following this meeting or tomorrow with the links to our meeting videos, because as we reference, like city council, we refer back to the meeting videos for our minutes. And I know several had asked about where those could be found, as well as the 2025 park advisory schedule, meeting schedule. So she'll be sending that all out to you likely tomorrow. Right. Okay. And then the rest of the staff reports are in your packet. If you have any questions, staff is here to comment or answer.
Should I ask you, does anybody have additional questions for Chad at this point?
I'm sure glad to hear about the golf course.
I figured I'd make your day before you head to Arizona. Okay.
Now that you have the $1 million and we have all this other.
It's proposed. I don't have it yet. It's still pending council approval, but it's at least in the plan.
I was just checking to see about that. And then for the rest of it that we want to get, do we talk to people now, or what are we going to do?
Yeah. So Sarah and I met with Troy. We met last week or a couple weeks ago. So we're tiering it with the corporate ask and the foundation ask level, and that'll primarily be my role to do sort of those big grant applications for like the CRAs and the RDAs and Bechtels and all those different trusts. And then Troy is going to lead, well, along with Ron and a couple other, likely if you want to be involved, sort of the mid-range ask, that $5,000 to $25,000 sort of range, smaller ask, similar strategy to the Miracle Field. So I think he'll be getting together with those who want to be part of that and strategizing who's going to go out and ask what and who and all that sort of stuff. So I think we'll hit it real heavy. I want to, some of the trust in the foundation type stuff, they have application process open now before the end of the year that I'm working to get in. A lot of giving sometimes into the fiscal year, into the calendar year. People are looking to offload donation money, so we're trying to get some of that stuff out before.
Are some of these guys gonna get their name on a brick?
We haven't fully talked about, there will be a recognition wall of some sort, in the clubhouse. What that looks like, I'm not sure yet, but yeah, there will be a recognition opportunity for donors.
Okay.
Great.
Thanks.
Yeah. He's smiling big time there. Moving on to the staff reports that you received.
Well, that's for those.
Okay, what? Go for it.
Just from the written staff report, the $10 ornaments, where would those be purchased at
Ask that, yeah.
for February?
So for this year, Amanda rolled out the ornaments, and we do have those on sale at the River's Edge currently. And then Amanda and I are working on a schedule for doing some pop-up ornament sales at Vanderveer and the Conservatory on some of their extended hour evenings. Go to the people rather than making the people come to us.
That was on my list too. I had a question about I don't know who wrote this one, but about the adult volleyball league teams. Yeah, my question is this, where do we find those and what kind of promotion is going to happen since it's volleyball season? So just wondering, it's a program that, it's out there, but does the public truly know that this is going on, or don't they want to do that?
Well, we're actually more than full. That was an extra team we kind of worked into it. So I guess the word does go out to volleyball teams. Usually it's people who ref for us also ref at outdoor leagues and have kind of gotten the word for that. We've been running the leagues for, I think since I started, actually. But they've expanded and then they lowered and then they expanded and they lowered. It's probably usually we were around 30 teams. And then again, it's based on the usage of the schools because we have to use the schools to do the league. And so we only have a certain amount of time. So that time gets full. So I think that's one of the reasons we didn't really push it out more than that, because they do fill. And I don't want to have teams mad at they didn't get in, because I don't really have the ability to offer them more time.
I understand that. Thank you.
No problem.
Is it a tournament that they have a league that comes to the top, kind of like traditional basketball tournaments thing?
Kind of. We have I think it's like a 12-week season, and then Bill, the person that coordinates that for Cole, he does a really good job of seeding, like two, basically, in the one league I'm more aware of, he basically seeds an A league and a B league tournament based on their abilities and how they've done against each other, so that it's actually the good teams play the good teams and the bad teams play the worst teams, I guess. Then he does the similar thing to all of the nights. There's different leagues. We have like competitive, recreation, co-ed, girls.
That kind of thing. Well, you've given me a nice review of what's going on with that one. I like it.
Great.
Yeah.
Glad to help.
Thanks. I don't know. Are there other comments or questions for the staff reports? If not, we'll move on to Chris.
Yeah, not a lot of park-related stuff at Riverfront this past month. With the diner closing at the Freight House, they are looking at maybe pushing forward some upgrades that were being talked about to let's do it while it's vacant instead of after somebody potentially moves in, and maybe that makes it more appealing to a potential new tenant. The holiday train is coming back on, I believe, the 27th, if I can read my handwriting here. And they're doing some, I think have now completed some improvements to the signage at Union Station to kind of bring it up to modern times. And then during a little bit of discussion about the farmer's market at the Freight House, they mentioned that there was record vendor applications this past year. So, I mean, there's a lot of interest still, and the Riverfront Improvement Commission is trying to determine what the best way to work with the farmer's market to maybe expand in whatever way possible. So it's pretty good news on that. Don't have a lot other than that.
Thank you, Chris. Questions for Chris? We have time for advisory time. Yes. And this is where we have an opportunity to bring forth some suggestions or ideas for our work or involvement. And so, ideas forward, yes.
I have a question for Chris. Did I interrupt somebody?
No, it's
Well, I had a yellow button.
Bill was talking about the Memorial Park down there. Didn't he have some information? I was watching your video that night, and he was talking about it, that he's trying to get some things done down there.
Yeah, they're selling, and they have been for a little while, they're selling bricks that you can get inscribed with like a family member that was in the service, and then there'll be like kind of a shelter roof above those, so they'll be sheltered from the weather. And I think if you just Google Friends of Veterans Memorial Park, Davenport probably, you'll find the way you can buy those online. It's a pretty smooth process.
Is he having some issues of trying to get some things through?
I mean, he seems frustrated with some like, just that they're needing to get some permits and run things through the city process since it's a city park. I mean, I understand his frustration, but it's...
Where does that have to go through? The council, or does that go through here?
No, I think it's parks. I think Chad or...
Yeah, so we are working to redevelop the overall master plan with their additional requests. And currently, there's no funding in place for any of these additional improvements that they are seeking to do. So working with our landscape architect out of Public Works who did the actual plan for the park, he's been attending their meetings along with Billy. Given some of the challenges with the last phase in terms of criticisms because of the site and other things, and we had to do some things with the DNR because it's an old dump site, so there's regulatory things that we just cannot, I think, move as fast as they would like to see, and we're trying to work and make them understand that there is a process for all this. We just don't throw things up. And,
I just
you know what I
mean?
mean?
A little bit more to the story.
Yeah, so I mean, we're working through it. It'll get done.
I'm surprised it got done what he done.
Right, yeah.
Because it being a dump area.
Right, I mean, yeah, there's
There's
some public critical of that park, and just making sure we work through all the right regulatory agencies because of the site, so.
So we're doing what we're supposed to do.
I feel, yes.
There's no doubt in my mind.
Yeah, right. Thank you.
Thanks. Hey.
So I wanted to mention, I don't have my notes in front of me. What is the name of the trailer that you guys, that we have with the table, chairs, and that you can rent, and the city delivers the trailer? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes, so we have two trailers. There is one that is the Good Neighbor Project trailer. That is overseen by Allie McWilliams. She's the community engagement coordinator for the city, so she works in city administration. And that is available to people who are registered Good Neighbor Project leaders.
Oh.
So that it's not just open to anyone to rent. It is people who are affiliated and have signed up to be and have gone through the training and such as a Good Neighbor Project leader for their specific neighborhood. And it's usually used for like block parties, ways to engage that adjacent neighborhood that they are a leader of. And we do have, it isn't just private citizens, we do have Hope at the Brick House, Joyce Miller, or not Joyce Miller, I'm blanking on her name horribly.
Kloop.
Huh?
Kloop, I believe.
Yes. Their organization is a Good Neighbor Project leader. We have a church that is a Good Neighbor Project leader, and then we actually have a couple corporations that have signed on to kind of adopt neighborhoods and become Good Neighbor Project leaders as well.
Well, what I was going to mention is Castlewood, which is an apartment complex by Emi's. They had a fall festival, and they had this trailer there, and they had some vendors, but almost all of the vendors backed out except for one, and they wanted to share the feedback that trailer saved the day for their fall festival because of the games and all the things that were there. The only thing that she said she was extremely concerned about was the game pieces, because it's a whole complex, and you have a lot of kids and people there playing, the games, and she was just so paranoid one would get lost or a part would come up missing, and that was the only thing that she said she was concerned about. But it really, I seen it, I watched them load everything up, and they were extremely pleased with it. That is probably a great idea, absolutely. So
it is a wonderful resource, and it gets used a lot. I believe they have it available from April through October. And I think that it was used upwards of 25 times this summer, just in like a 4-month time span. They do charge, it's $25. And part of that is it's money that goes into potentially having to replace things, but it still keeps it accessible for people to be able to rent it.
Yeah, absolutely. But I told her I would bring the information back to
Yeah, I'll pass that on to Ally.
So, all right,
Thank
thank
you.
you.
So that's a different trailer than the one that you mentioned and would you repeat the name of that again?
There is a Parks and Recreation, we have an internal trailer, it's our special events trailer.
That trailer.
And that is used primarily for city functions, obviously Parks and Recreation functions, and then some of our community partners. The Downtown Davenport Partnership uses it, Riverfront Improvement Commission for some of their events, they'll use that. We've had, trying to think of, but Party in the Park, so typically though, that's an internal use, it's not used by the general public. But it's a similar makeup, tables, pop-up tents, games, all of our yard games, chairs, anything that we would need for an event.
Great, thank you. Other questions in regard to the program itself? We have covered now the Riverfront Improvement Commission report. We now know more about the trailers and how those work within. We know more about the Vets Park issue. Did you have a question?
Yeah, I got that.
There we go. Yeah, well, it's not yellow, so I didn't do it.
I've been asked to thank Billy Fisher and his crew for doing something we couldn't get done, and that's get the piles of gravel off the causeway for bikers and walkers. I don't think any of you are bikers, but there were actually piles of gravel, been on there for months and months, and we couldn't get any resolution. So finally, I did say something to Billy, and they did sweep it off, made it much, much safer, and it's appreciated by everybody. And I was told to, and I wanted to pass that along on public record, that actions of the park department like that are really appreciated.
Great. Okay, with advisory time, are there topics?
I have one. Please. Can we get a pile of dirt down at the dog park? Can we just have one down there so they can do whatever they need to do?
Yeah, let's make it acidic and thick soil so the dogs don't ruin it right away.
Thick soil.
Clay, it's just, we're importing a lot of like rock, gravel, and, this loose soil, and really, we're dealing with Mississippi clay. So, I mean, we have to fill up and then plan for plantings appropriately in those areas. We're going to have harsh heats, and we're going to also have flooding, and it's going to be acidic clay that we're not only planting in, but filling in those holes so those dogs and the people visiting don't break their legs. So I agree with that.
Sure. I hesitate to deliver a pile of dirt because it's just going to be a mud pit until it gets spread. I feel like we've been fairly reactive when asked to go fill holes. Some of the concerns down there, I would say we don't prioritize highly. The water and the tunnels is there for less than 24 hours. To me, that falls within natural resources and the city's policy of if there's standing water for more than 24 hours, it's a problem. If it's less than 24 hours, it is not. Less than 24 hours after the rainstorm, the water is gone. We have drilled in weep holes in those tunnels, and I would say less than 12 hours that water is gone. So it hasn't been a huge priority to me to tear out the tunnels, put rock down, put the tunnels back, put the dirt back over the top, and to reestablish sod to me is something that was not priority. At different direction, I suppose it could be made a priority. I just think that we have other efforts that are needed rather than to solve an issue that's not really an issue, in my opinion.
Well, I agree with what you're saying, Billy, but I think that if we went to the far corner, southwest corner of that one, on the other side,
sure,
and put a pile of dirt down there so they can go over there and dig some out of there, I don't think it's going to be a mud hole if you.
Sure.
I really don't, and I think that would probably solve half your problems that you got there, maybe. And I stopped down there a couple of times, but I've never had anybody ever tell me that there was a bunch of holes that had to be cleared. I just don't know how.
Sure, the holes were more an issue on the east side there, that hillside there, and the new.
I didn't go into the new side.
So the new side, there were some groundhogs in that east side of that hill. The holes have been filled. And now that the dogs are fenced in that area, I wouldn't expect that the groundhogs would stay there very long. So we plan to keep filling the holes.
Get some dynamite.
If the groundhogs are still there, which we filled the holes. we filled the holes one time, and I have not seen them come back. Now, that was only a couple of weeks ago, 2-3 weeks ago, so.
Sounds like we need some owl boxes around.
I would bet that with the addition of the dogs in that area, the groundhogs are not going to stay there.
No.
Yeah. So we have filled those holes. I want to say we filled those 2 weeks ago, either 2 or 3 weeks ago, and they have not come back. So again, to me,
those
that's.
Locals, there's this. Sorry to interrupt, guys. I don't know how to beep in. The locals are great down there. They're more than willing to help. I see all my neighbors every time I visit the dog parks. I train large predator birds as well as giant dogs. So right now I'm training a dog the size of a pony, and it needs a large dog park. So I'm having to go to Benton. Lately I've been using Butterworth Park. And, it's not only that, some of them are handicap accessible, and I love to work in the Dola Dog Parks, truly. They need some love, and there's a lot of people that I see there from my community, so it's really nice that it's there now.
Yeah, I don't have a problem. We can put a pile of dirt there of sifted topsoil. I'll put a tarp over the top of it so it doesn't. I
don't even know if you need to do that. I think I just dump one over to the far southwest corner, and so it's out of the way of everybody.
I'll grab a rig.
And then somebody, and I'll visit it more. And I'll visit the park a little bit more as well.
Oh yeah, we could do that. We could do that. I think we'd be filling that more than we'd be filling the holes. But if we did like a golf course divot bucket,
yeah,
I don't think that's quite enough. But we can put a small pile of dirt somewhere. Container of some sort. Yeah, we can do that.
If you have big dogs and there have been groundhogs, the smell and what's there, they're gonna dig and go, you know, even
Sure.
small dogs will go after that.
They're gonna be digging stuff out of there. I mean, there's gotta be dirt laying around there where they dug out. I mean, you should be able to put some of it back, I would think.
Yeah, we can put a small pile of dirt somewhere in the dog park. That's fine.
And I'll visit it more. I'm not going down there. I don't need to
We can
be
do
in
it on a trial basis to see if we get any complaints from anybody else that their dogs are running around the pile of dirt.
But I can understand their concerns, and I can understand we have 2 dogs, but we don't go down there. My wife doesn't go down there. I don't go down there, except for when I happen to be driving around in my car, and I just stop and I talk to people for a little bit, and I have great conversations with them.
Yeah.
But I've never had anybody, they just give me suggestions. I've never had anybody complain to me.
I've stopped down there personally and walk around and introduce myself to everybody, and I've had the same experience.
So, okay.
Well, our visitor or our public comment person has gone, but I know that there was some discussion, and yes, I've been on the line for the committee to form that. And for those who are new, there was, at that time, Jerry and Becca and, you were on the Rules and Guidelines Committee, and I think that equated to we have this committee, but there's 2 different things going on, I think.
I think they just need a voice. I think they just want a voice. It doesn't have to be a meeting. They just want a voice, and I think that's the reason why she was here today.
Yeah, I agree with that. I guess what I would do is I'm just going to send Chad a message, and I would feel comfortable myself that we just kind of talk about what alternatives there might be. I think that I don't know enough about the details to, of what transpires with all of them, because there's an active group, to say, let's do this. So I'll just, if that works, I'll just contact and see where we go with that.
We'll just work on a staff response to those concerns and questions, and then we can have a discussion about best path forward.
Okay, well, let me know, because I feel like I'm on the line to chair a committee, and I would not want to do that in ignorance.
There are 2 members that she referenced. I have their contact information, and I reached out to them. I got their contact information on Monday, and I've reached out to them, and I'm just waiting to hear back from them. Stephanie had expressed wanting to step back, and she said, and passed on these 2 names as people who were interested in finding out what they could do to help. So where the conversation is happening.
Good, that's good to know.
So I just looking at the document that the community member brought, and looking at the dates, I want to commend, Billy for, it looks like the comment from Park and Rec was October 16th regarding this debris. How large of an area was fenced in for these pieces here? Was it a good?
It's a couple acres. It's roughly the same size as the west side.
Okay. And that's what they found as far as, okay. And then the response, their response was October 21st. They were right down, Billy, you and your team were right down there, October 21st. And they mentioned, they found some, it looks like maybe 1/2 inch, maybe 1 inch pieces with their magnet roller. And they were pleased. And then this longer piece, you may want to check the fence, unless I'm wrong, that the way it's kind of swirly there, I wonder if it was pulled out from along the fence floor, you know what I mean, the bottom of the fence where the pins.
Sure.
And it's gone now because it's in her hand. So.
Yeah, so I can tell you the first pictures that were taken, that park wasn't open yet. We had not accepted it from the contractor yet, so the contractor hadn't done their final walkthrough. Yeah. And I can also tell you that I did send our crew down twice. When I sent them, it was not dark outside, so And then after that second time, I walked it myself to make sure. I also called down the park supervisor and he walked it with me. And we don't have a magnet, but from walking, we found the holes, did not find any more debris. So we opened the east side at that time.
And to be, honest, even when you get a roof done, you're gonna find nails in the yard for months and months. So I think this was, to have a whole fence that large done, and you don't want any pieces. Don't get me wrong, I'm a dog lover, just like you, Billy, and all of us up here. You don't want any, but I think that your response time, considering everything that's going on and you having to get everything done and prepared for winter arrival, was amazing. So I just want to definitely make sure.
We appreciate that. Could we have done better? Yes, we can always do better. But we do care. We do care about our parks. We do care about the shape that they're in. I'm a dog lover. I have 2 dogs myself, so we do care about other people's dogs as well. So it's appreciated. Thank you.
Absolutely.
You do a great job, Billy. I said you do a great job.
Thank you.
We've had good comment, and we're moving forward with, addressing the issues that we heard, and we'll have a report back, and happiness will abound for all dogs in the park. Any other advisory time comments? We then, looking at the clock, would certainly entertain a motion.
I make a motion, we close out the meeting.
Is there a second?
I second.
Those approving the motion to adjourn signify yes or yay.
Yes.
Yay. Thank you, everybody.